Well, hello, welcome. I'm glad that you're here with us today as we continue our chronological read through of the Bible. Today we're just going to read one chapter, a single chapter of First Chronicles. There's 81 verses of names and places for a single tribe. that's a lot of names and places for starters. But actually, that 81 verses is more than any other tribe in Chronicles, except for the tribe of Judah, from whom, of course, King David and the Messiah were born. So clearly, this tribe that we're going to talk about today is important. And it's the tribe of Levi. The chronicler devotes a lot of time to the Levites because the Levites serve God in his tabernacle and then eventually the temple. And it's from the Levites, of course, that the priests come. Beginning with Levi, the chronicler lists names generation after generation. Special attention is given to the line of Aaron, as that is the priestly line. It's important for the returning exiles to know that those who serve them as priests and as high priest are descended from Aaron. While all priests are Levites, only those Levites descended from Aaron can be priests. While all priests are Levites, only those Levites descended from Aaron can be the priests. Knowing the priestly line is intact allows the returning exiles to resume worship and sacrifices in the tabernacle, in the temple, and thereby to approach God according to his laws now that they have returned from the exile. Having established the priestly line, then, the chronicler moves on to list out more completely the three great clans of Levites. Notice the appearance of the great prophet Samuel in verses 25 and 26. We heard earlier that Samuel was an Ephraimite, so it might seem problematic. By earlier, I mean back when we first heard about Samuel. So it might seem problematic that he's listed here as from the clan of Kohath, a Levite. But it's not really an issue when you remember that the Levites are distributed throughout Israel. So what appears has happened is that Samuel is from the clan of Kohath, and his family, Kohath's family, lived among the Ephraimites. Let's see, the next block of verses that we get into then lists those that King David charged with the music for the tabernacle and eventually the temple. King David was the great organizer of the worship of God in the tabernacle, which then carried over to the temple in Solomon's reign. Did you notice, or maybe you will notice as you read through that, the name Asaph in that list? We've been reading some of the Psalms that Asaph wrote. Really, they are songs for worship that Asaph wrote. All of the men listed here handled the aspects of music for worship. They wrote poems, they wrote songs, they composed the music, they played the instruments, they formed choirs. What a blessed task they were given by God through King David. The balance of the chapter then lists the settlements and the towns that were given to the Levites throughout the land of Israel. If you recall, and I mentioned it even again earlier, the Levites did not inherit a specific block of land as did the other tribes, but they were dispersed throughout the various tribes to serve as teachers of the people. Their life's work was to teach the people the ways of God and to assure the proper worship of God, to assure that things were done properly according to God's command. It's interesting to see how the curse of Jacob against Levi for his part in the brutal slaying of the men of Shechem becomes a blessing as his descendants are set apart for service to God after answering Moses' call during the incident of the golden calf at Mount Sinai. The tribe is still scattered, but it's not destroyed. Rather, it becomes a blessing to all of Israel. There may be another dynamic playing here too, as the chronicler is spending this much time on the tribe of Levi. You see, when it came time for the people to return from Babylon to Jerusalem, there were actually very few of the priests and Levites that responded to the call. Not exactly told why they didn't seem to want to move from Babylon back to Jerusalem, but there were very few that responded. Could it be that the chronicler is encouraging them to respond to the high calling that they have been given? They were needed to properly establish and regulate worship and to instruct the people. Actually, we kind of have a similar problem today, don't we? Finding people to respond to God's call to serve as pastors and teachers for His people. It seems that this is an ongoing problem that has existed possibly even throughout time. Well, may God be with you and bless you as you continue your readings. I know that today's reading may be a little more dry than even some of the other readings that we had out of Chronicles, but I pray that these insights that you just received will be helpful for you in doing that reading. May God be with you, bless you. I look forward to meeting with you the next time we gather.